se vuoi ballo. Okay, can we have quiet out there? I don't think it was one single picture, but it was a moment that really mattered. And I think I was in my early 20s, and I was in Italy, and I was assisting a fashion photographer who was working with models and was working with analog photography. And that was like really sparked something in my life, because we were then also printing and developing the images on this darkroom. And I think that moment was so special that I'll never forget, because it was a moment where I realized, wow, this is magic, and I want to be part of this. And yes, and so even in between shots, when he was shooting with models, I would take some in-between shots just to get like models maybe preparing their makeup and something. So somehow I was also part of that experience, doing my own little images. But I think the main point was also start printing in the darkroom, seeing the images appearing on paper. That really was just magic. It would be a story about authenticity, a story about reclaiming beauty, revealing the truth, revealing rawness, vulnerability, emotions. That is all what it's about for me with photography. It's not like very much an A to Z kind of story, beginning and end. It's more, what kind of emotions do I want to portray with this work? What kind of message do I want to put across to the world, So those elements is what create the story for me. But it's not like, beginning and end. It's so much about the feeling, the emotion, the energy that I want to create with the series that I work with. I think AI-generated images, they have their place nowadays. I use them for sometimes to create social media content. When I work with analog photography, the images that you create with that medium, there's no comparison. What I love about analog photography is the imperfection, which you don't get with AI. The imperfection, the blurriness, fuzziness, those details that are not crucial, because the emotions is more important. That's what I try to achieve when I work with analog photography with my lovely Rolleiflex. And so, I think AI has a place, but there's no comparison. And so I'm not worried, because, you can work on both. And of course, nowadays it's so expensive even to get films and then print, and all of that. But the feeling, the emotion that you get when you see an image created by using, film photography is just so priceless. It's unique. I think for me, what's important is connections. So connecting to my subject when I work with them, to really see their essence, to really portray their true self, because how often actually we put masks on, isn't it, pretending to be somebody else, or, that is really crucial for me and so important in all of my series. And actually, I remember a series that I did called I Am. I was working with female models, and I asked them to come with no makeup, so completely like, I wanted to portray beauty without any, extras. And it was a challenging moment for a couple of these models, because they felt like, they came and they still had mascara or they had foundation. And I was like, no, you're not going to be part of this project if you take this thing off, And as I said at the beginning, I always like to connect to the person first. Creating that rapport is very crucial for me. So just be authentic, be themselves. Dancing with Trees is a series that took about a year to complete. Was born by the passion and love that I have for trees. There's one tree in particular that is my best friend, that I go and speak to and connect. And so I was curious to see whether it was just myself or other people have this profound connection or can connect to trees. And so I invited some models, some subjects, mainly I work with females, to come to different trees. So we went to different forests in London, outside London. I wanted to see how they connect to trees and they could just be themselves, So it was so beautiful to witness how some people would just be like taking off, their shoes, they're just lying down, feeling the energy of the trees. Some other would dance around the trunk of the tree and just feeling, absorbing again the energy of this beautiful, the wisdom of the trees. And it was just fascinating. And again, it wasn't just the final picture of them connecting with the trees, but it was the process getting there. So the process of like walking to find the tree that we want to work, that we're both, happy to work with, was also fascinating, because then I'll get to know more of the person, they get to know more of me, and then we can establish that trust, and they can be feeling more at ease, if you like, that we have created that rapport. So then they just can, be more open, more spacious in their lives, and really be authentic with the trees. So yes, I have cried, and I cried specifically, I remember, in this project called Expressing Pink. It was very moving. I worked with women who had breast cancer and undergone mastectomy. It was a powerful project. I placed an advert in different cancer centers, inviting women to come along if they wanted to be nude portrait basically of them, with showing themselves as they are. And it was very moving. For some of them, it was actually quite challenging, but I really wanted to portray their beauty, their courage as well of showing up as they are. I remember coming back home feeling like, my gosh, I'm so moved by the courage of these women. Yeah, it can changes like three-dimensional. I change because I need to, for instance, really work from my heart. In all my projects, when I work with people, it's so much about how can I connect, first of all, with this model in front of me that doesn't know me, I don't know them. So I need to really elevate my life state, connect with my heart. They change because they also need to be open. And so that can be challenging sometimes. So people that are more closed, more reserved. And they also change because they're showing their vulnerability, their rawness, their authenticity that might be sometimes they're not used to, because they need to put some sort of mask or layers to protect themselves. But also it changes the viewer point of view, because, that's my aim always with the viewer. They will feel something maybe they haven't felt before by looking at that image. So that is always a goal, how can I touch people's lives through my work? It's kind of three-dimensional. They're always like projects that I think about before, that I plan, that I research. So there are still projects that I've not created yet, and they will be coming one day in the future that I'll be working on. But yeah, I don't look back in the past saying, oh, I wish. Movement, yes. Movement to express, also movement. And maybe writing a book of my stories, yeah. Nadia comes in from the beginning, obviously, because it's something that, when you were asking this, what came up to me was the series that I did, Room, which was about, asking people to dance in public spaces. And this is something that I always wanted to do myself, I want to dance in the street, I don't care who's gonna watch me. And so I thought, okay, what if I start a project like this? And I asked people to dance in public spaces. And so with all projects, there's always a desire that I want to be the subject of my own series. But of course, I like being the one that creates the project, whether it's the one with the trees or the nudes that I did, the series, it's always like something that I actually would like to do that myself. The idea starts, and that's where the process, it's also mine, because I just work, it's just me and me. I don't, that feeling that I want to experience for myself, for them and the viewers, actually, is the triangle always. Yeah.